What's up, guys? Welcome back to Bibi's channel. So I have a special guest today. Actually, this is gonna be a special video today, a special vlog, whatever y'all want to call it. So I have a good friend of mine, Eloise. Eloise, you want to introduce yourself to the people?
My name is Eloise. I don't think you guys need the last name, but if you say so, Louise Rodriguez. I met Barbara through our kids, really, and we're neighbors. So we met through our kids and being in the same building. So
Yes, and I'm happy I met her because, well, we do have a lot of things in common. So I just want to put it out there,
we do.
But one thing that makes us special, like our friendship is that our kids have similar diagnosis. So we're gonna get right into that. Today's video is going to be about speaking
about their diagnosis.
not only about the diagnosis, but
How we developed our friendship through our kids. That's what really started it.
and also how our life being a stay-at-home mom. That's plus
for
being
us as well.
Exactly.
Because we don't get the credit as stay-at-home moms.
especially with kids with
Disabilities, special needs,
whatever they want to call it.
yeah.
But the truth is we are unique and our friendship definitely unique. So yeah, I guess, do you want me to start with?
You can start.
Okay. So I have a son. His name is Aiden and he's 9 years old. So Aiden was first diagnosed with Smith-Magenis syndrome, SMS, when he was a year and 6 months. So I'm gonna give you guys a little background on it, and I'm not gonna drag it. I'm gonna try to make it, as easy and simple. And if you guys are welcome, if you guys feel comfortable, or, I don't know, if you guys want to, you
Comment
guys,
down below.
or y'all can look it up for yourselves. Yeah.
Do the research.
Exactly. So Smith-Magenis syndrome is a genetic disability due to a microdeletion or abnormality of chromosome 17. The symptoms of SMS they're different ones. I'm gonna get into it, but as soon as I found out about this, it's a lot to take in, I knew I had to put him in early intervention. And of course, when I had my son, I was 21, turning 22, and then he was my first child. So I felt my emotions were all over the place. I really didn't know what to do. I was young, and to find out that my son, his life was gonna be different than other kids, it just broke my heart. Not for me, but for him. So before I get into that, I would like for my friend to take over so that way she can speak on her children and also their diagnosis, and then I'll go back to the challenges and stuff.
Well, both my children, first, I got pregnant at the age of 18. I gave birth at 19.
Okay.
I have two children, one a 15-year-old and the other is 5 years old. They're 5 years apart. Both my children have the same diagnosis that was inherited through me, my bloodline, my mom, and so forth. My child's diagnosis, he was diagnosed with a microduplication on chromosome X. And that is actually associated with many different, how do you say it? Many different,
like DNA or
no, like many different symptoms
okay.
that a child can have. Each one varies each time. Every child is different. Some of the associated symptoms that are associated with that.
I have a question. I'm sorry for cutting you off. Both of the children, both of your boys, have the same diagnosis, correct? Okay, so y'all heard her. They both have the same diagnosis. So she's explaining what their diagnosis is.
Yes, and what the possible associated symptoms associated specifically with that diagnosis are short stature, I don't necessarily like to use this word, so I'm not going to use it in the video, but the proper term that doctors use, intellectual disability. Short stature, failure to thrive, feeding deficiencies, behavioral issues, and that's just some of the possibilities. There's others that it's way too much for me to even explain.
So what she's saying is there's a lot that comes with her boys, you know.
Yes.
So I'm gonna piggyback from what you said about my son. I was gonna get into that as well. So some of the learning disabilities, the symptoms that come with being someone with SMS is he does not sleep. Well, he sleeps during the day, and then during the night he's up. Right, so that's a disrupted sleeping pattern. And then he also has delayed speech and language skills, facial features like short flat head, short nose, deep set eyes, and tinted upper lip. Yeah. So I don't know why. I don't know. I just feel like a lot of these things that they say, like, I'm like, well, my head is like that, or like my nose is like that, you know? Like, but okay. And also some behavior, which I'm gonna let her answer that one because I think that our boys are similar on that. For behavior, he self-harms, not him, but SMS, self-harms, aggression, impulsive, and hyperactive. So my son, for example, he doesn't self-harm, but he is aggressive, impulsive, and hyperactive. Are your boys, is there any similarity to this, or is there anything else you have to add to the behavior?
As far as both my boys, what's kind of not strange, but like what's crazy about all of this is even though they're both brothers with the same diagnosis, they're both different in their own way as well. So
we'll give us an example.
For example, my 15-year-old, he's always been more of the calm one, not too clingy on top of me. His behavior, he's more quiet and calm. He has an aggressive side sometimes, but it's usually the typical teenager behavior. For example, the rolling the eyes, sucking the teeth, the feet stomp. So just your typical teenager stuff. But meanwhile, when he tends to feel under pressure or get anxious a lot, which he does, he'll tend to shut down. Versus my 5-year-old, who, again, he's only 5. He has more of the active, energetic that a typical toddler will have.
Okay.
But I do remember, as I mentioned with my 15-year-old, being that they're both different, my 15-year-old is more of the calm one.
Right.
Even when at his age, at 5 years old, he wasn't jumping all over the place. Where my 5-year-old, he's jumping all over the place. So this is actually something new for me to experience, that energetic side of him.
Right, because your older one is not like
was
that.
Not like
was
that.
not like
and
that.
It still is not like that.
Right, that's true. I know him, personally, and he's pretty quiet. Another thing I wanted to add, I forgot, my friend did say that it came from her. My son, when he was diagnosed with Smith-Magenis, he did not get it from me or his father. You can get it from your parents though, but he did not get it from me or his father.
You mentioned that was something that just happened. It was rare.
Yes, yeah.
Which definitely. Is another similarity that me and her have is the fact that my child's condition, I was told there is no explanation for it. It's just rare. It happens. There's no reason as to why it happens. They do not know. So that's another thing we have in common.
Definitely, yeah. And she was younger than me, but the fact that both of our kids came out the way they did, I mean, that like
just meant
it was
to
like
be.
Yeah, and not only that, but like, as a parent, you say, I just want my kid to come out healthy, and then when you get the unexpected, which is, oh well, your kid came out this way, obviously that's you know, it's part of life. But, you know, to be young and be first time moms, it's like, it breaks your heart, because it's like, wait a minute, wait, what's going on? Wait, pause, you know, because it's enough that you got pregnant, you got the news about that, you enjoyed it, okay, then you gave birth, okay, you enjoying your time, and then you get the other stuff that you don't expect, especially being so young at our age when we had our boys.
I'm gonna cut you off.
Go ahead. No, I want you to speak as well.
When you was pregnant, did you know your child was gonna come out with a diagnosis even before they did?
Thank you for asking me that. No, I did not know.
That's one of the differences, I guess, because with me, at 18, they performed a test that's called Amino test. They kind of already had a feeling there was something going on in the pregnancy. I was still too small. My belly wasn't that big. And he wasn't growing that much inside of me. So they wanted to take an Amino test, which I agreed to doing. It's basically a needle that they stick in your belly and pull out a little bit of liquid to get it tested for any genetic situations. Mm-hmm. So I knew about my child's possible condition even before he was fully diagnosed.
Okay, so that's the difference.
But I still chose to went forth with the pregnancy.
That's the next question I was going to ask you. Do you mind me asking? Because it's the same thing what you were about to say. Mm-hmm. When they told you your son was going to be born this way, now, you know, I have to say it like this. Mm-hmm. Did you ever think about an abortion or adoption?
And then it didn't cross my mind, not one bit. Actually, was crazy about the situation being that I was so young, and at the time the child's father, he wasn't really there for me. He was more of a cheater, an abuser. So a family member of mine, actually an aunt of mine, actually tried to not try to put in my head, because I already knew what's the possibilities of my child coming out with a specific diagnosis, but one of my aunts basically made an appointment for me to get an abortion.
And how you felt when she did that?
It kind of pissed me off a little bit, but at the same time, being that I was so young, I kind of almost gave in and was like, because she kept just telling me, you're still very young, you're only 18. If you give birth to this baby, your life is going to be over, your child is going to come out with this and that. But in my head, it was like, how can you say that about a child? At the end of the day, no matter what my child chooses to come out with, I'm gonna be supportive no matter what. I don't never give away or neglect the child just because they're born differently.
And I wanna add to this. This is why I respect this girl so much, because just the way that she's even speaking, and she was aware that her son was gonna be born this way, she still chose to keep her son, and she knew the challenges that were gonna come.
Yeah, I did. But maybe not all of them. I didn't know everything. But that's the choice I chose to make at a very early age anyway. I was forced into a young lifestyle anyway, but that's another video, another time. But I was forced to grow up at the age of 16 anyway. So once I got pregnant, I looked at it as a blessing. Nobody was there for me. I got this child where we're both going to be here for each other. So I remember even telling the doctors, do whatever you have to do necessary to make sure my child survives, or whatever the case may be. And I'll do my part to do whatever I have to do, whatever challenges are going to be thrown at me. I was willing to accept that.
Okay. Well, thank you again for making this video with me. Like, I know this is like a big thing for the both of us, you know. Mm-hmm. So I actually left out that I think that's something we also have in common. Correct me if I'm wrong though. Yeah. My son has toileting issues, difficulties, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you can also let me know when you want to add into that, okay?
I have those same issues with my 5-year-old. Mm-hmm. My 5-year-old, being that he was diagnosed with the same condition my oldest was, but he was also diagnosed with autism. He's on the autism mild spectrum. It's not real severe, but he does show little symptoms and signs. One of the signs of autism is difficulty with potty training. So it just takes him a little bit longer he's still in diapers. He's 5 years old, like I said. So that's...
Oh, well, yeah, I'm going to add into that because, you know, you are aware. My son is 9 years old and he still wears diapers. I've always said, even when I first met Louise, I never want to share anything personal like that just because there's a lot of mean people, especially on the internet, and I don't want anyone making, I mean, it's gonna happen, right, eventually, but I don't want anyone making fun of Aiden for the difficulties the challenges that he has to face every day, same as your sons. And I just feel like it's enough that their life is challenged every day for someone to make fun of them. So yes,
even at birth, they would just...
Exactly.
They went through a lot. They went through more than what we went through.
Exactly. I can agree on that.
Yeah, I feel like our kids are strong.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that too. So, like, I want to share a little bit of, before I end, I wouldn't say end the conversation with SMS, just basically what I've learned and what I know so far about it. So, with toileting, to me, and from my experience, that has been the most difficult thing that has happened in my life, challenging as hell.
I'm still going through it.
Yes, because like, you know, I get the, you know, why your eyes look so dark? Okay, there ya go. Ya got the truth. I hardly sleep because my son has difficulties toileting. Give me 1 second, I'm sorry. So my son has difficulties toileting, so that puts me in a position, and it's enough that he does not sleep at night, so it does put me in a position to be up more at night. And then having to go the whole day, still being up because I do have another kid. So, and obviously they're not the same, totally different. But do you want to add into the toileting part? Anything
not really.
that
it was just that, I mean, my 15-year-old did go through, it took him a while to be potty trained too. He was not diagnosed with autism, but he is being evaluated for it.
Okay. So when did he toilet like completely 100%? Like,
to be honest, I honestly don't remember the exact age. Because sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, as a parent, we're not always perfect, so we tend to forget certain things. Mm-hmm. It's okay. Something as simple as, how old am I again? But yeah, my 15-year-old didn't start really potty training until a little after the age of 5. He was still in diapers. Okay. So it took him a while.
Okay. Yeah. I love asking her questions. Obviously, you guys know that's something we have in common because it gives me comfort and hope that maybe soon Aiden will be toilet trained 100%. So it's good to go to someone that has kids with similar exactly, because they can give you that comfort. And she always keeps it honest with me 100%. If, let's say, her son, you know, didn't toilet train 100% until he was like 12, she would tell me, you know, just because, you know, she doesn't.
And one thing I noticed, a lot of parents tend to do this as well. I used to be one of those parents, and I had to stop because even a doctor or a teacher would tell you themselves, do not force your child into potty training. When they're ready, they'll show the signs that they're ready. If you see no signs whatsoever, do not push something that just because you're ready for as a parent does not necessarily mean your child is ready for it.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you for adding that, because I was like all over the place. I was like, I don't know. I just know that she's being honest with me though. Just because it's enough that we already have enough challenges and difficulties that we face every day, you know? So why not like have each other's back with sharing information, whatever we know. I also actually wanted to say treatment. Well, there's no cure for SMS. Is there any cure for your son's?
No, it's actually hereditary. Mine's is hereditary. Even though they said it was rare, there's no like
No cure.
it can happen. No, there's no cure. It just stays with you. There's no medicine to cure it. It's a genetic hereditary diagnosis that came from my mom's side, as I said, so forth. I was told even after having my first child, if ever in the future, before my 5-year-old, if ever in the future I wanted to have more kids, that was always a possibility with my child coming out with that diagnosis. It's just more noticeable in males than what it is in females in my situation with my kids.
And then with my son, which we was discussing that this morning, is that if I would have had a daughter, then you would have seen more.
Like basically it's the complete opposite.
Yes.
Where my children or any other future children I was to have, possibility with my situation, if I was to have a boy, the symptoms are more noticeable than if I was to have a girl. What I mean to say is not that the diagnosis is not there, because the diagnosis is still going to be there in a female, but the symptoms won't be as severe or noticeable as in a boy. Versus Barbara, what she's trying to say is basically it's the complete opposite from what I just said.
Yes. Treatment. So with my son, which I would like for you to add with your sons, he sees a pediatric surgeons when he was younger. As he gets older, thank God for that I wouldn't say it's less appointments, but nothing crazy, nothing like surgery type. He sees a cardiologist, a dental specialist, a speech pathologist, which he gets at school. He gets PT, OT, speech for his diagnosis, Smith-Magenis syndrome. OT is occupational therapy, and PT is physical therapy. And audiologist, which is for the ears, because
hearing.
Right, because because he does get ear infections consistently. And a psychologist. He does not see a psychologist though, and that's for behavioral. I am gonna look into that though. I'm open to having a discussion about that, because I know I don't have all the answers when it comes to living with a kid with Smith-Magenis syndrome. And every day there's different things, there's different help out there, and different methods that you can use to help your kid, succeed. So any treatment that your kids gotta get done?
There's no treatment for their diagnosis. It's just something that's rare. There's no cure for it. It's untreatable. I just gotta deal with frequent appointment trips to the doctors.
Can you go into details? Right. What appointments you go to?
Yeah, that's what I was going to.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
But the frequent trips that I normally go with my children, especially in the very beginning, because first and foremost, before I start explaining which appointments, which specialists that they go to, basically with my children, being that in the beginning it was more appointments, only because my 15-year-old used to have surgery for G-tube, which is a feeding tube in his stomach due to feeding deficiencies. Not the fact that he couldn't eat, he was able to eat and tolerate all types of foods and different textures. That was never his issue. Choking was never an issue. It was just both my kids do not get enough in order to gain the weight that they're supposed to. So a G-tube was necessary for extra supplement. And that's where all the appointments came in, which are GI, which is, I can't really pronounce that name, but gastroenterology. Gastro.
You
serology.
Yeah, you said it right. Yeah.
Those specialists, they mainly specialize in anything involving the stomach, any diagnosis involving the stomach, like acid reflux, anything like that. Because my child did have to be put on omeprazole, being the fact that he did have a hole in his stomach. So sometimes even whenever he would drink or eat something, if the hole was too big, it would burn his skin. So that was frequent trips to the emergency room, him being admitted many times due to not it getting infected. Thank God it never got into that point, but he's had serious burns on his stomach due to the acid reflux from his stomach. So that's one of the appointment specialists that he had to see, was a GI specialist due to weight and G2. Another specialist he also had to see was endocrinology. I'm not too familiar in that department. I only know from when my child saw them. But endocrinology, he was getting growth hormone treatment there as well.
Okay.
He used to get growth hormone injections to increase his bones. Because again, due to the diagnosis, one of the symptoms is short stature. He doesn't grow the way your typical child will grow. So at the age of 5, on a bone age x-ray test, my child's bones were only of a 3-year-old at the age of 5. So given that, they considered putting him on growth hormone therapy, which he was on for like about 8 years. So he was seeing that aside from his PCP, his pediatrician, and he was seeing a nutritionist, and he was also seeing a orthopedics doctor as well for his back, due to he was also diagnosed with mild scoliosis. So my son, my 15-year-old, has been through so much since birth. It's now that the appointments are becoming a little bit more better to handle. He's no longer on a G-tube, thank God. He's doing much better with his eating and his weight. He also got off of growth hormone injections that were also, by the way, given by me at home. I was trained the very first day by a doctor. It basically looks like a diet. If you're familiar with diabetes, it looks similar to a diabetic pen that you put in the refrigerator, and I would get the needle supplies and I would inject him myself every night. He's no longer on that. It's been like maybe 2 or 3 years, and he's been completely off. So again, the appointments have been less. But now, all those same things that I just mentioned, I'm going through that with my 5-year-old. The only difference is he does not have a G-tube. Thank God they did not have to go that route.
That's
I
cool.
know I spoke a lot, but
No. I mean, I want you. That's the reason we're doing this video, to, for you to speak on how it is to raise,
it's tough
kids that way.
But,
Yeah.
I keep going.
And I wanted to add into what she said, orthopedics, because I totally I'm gonna say forgot. My son used to wear brace on
his leg.
both on both legs, due to he would instead of him walking like this, he will walk both ways like this.
Okay.
And because he still had like water retention on both foot, like from the top, he had like a, I don't know how to explain it. It was like instead of so instead of it being flat on the foot, it was like but then it went down after like a couple of months or years, something like that. So that he was braced from the age of 1 all the way till he was, I believe, 6. He stopped wearing brace. He also has issues with keeping his weight, because he has, by the way, I did not mention this, and I would like for you to add if your sons have this. He has low muscle tone. So low muscle tone, your sons don't have that, right? Okay, so low muscle tone, he has low muscle tone in his jaw, so he chews slower than, you know, a typical child.
I don't mean to cut you off, but that's crazy you say that, because my 15-year-old does have similar. He doesn't have low muscle tone, but being that his jaw is so small, he tends to, when it comes to eating, sometimes he could take a whole hour on just one meal.
Okay. So it sounds about right. It sounds about the same. So there's certain foods that he would like, but he would choose not to eat because he knows how long it would take for him to chew it and then swallow. So he also has basically he just has low muscle tone from here all the way down to his feet. That's why he needed the brace. Yeah, to help him also with his balance. And that's why he takes physical therapy to help him with the low muscle tone. He's better than what he was, I would say, 6 years ago. Well, he's 9, but I say 6 because there was some other years that were difficult still for him. So I wanted to add into that, he easily falls. Like if you push him, he's just gonna land flat. Like he's not, because of his low muscle tone. And instead of him balancing, let's say for example, if he's like leaning on the wall or like on his bed, so instead of him like holding himself up like this or on something, he goes like this.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he flips his hands. Why? I don't know. And also when he's like overly excited, and I don't know if you want to add into this, before he would like flap his hands, and I told him not to do that anymore.
Yeah, actually don't tell him not to do it anymore, but try to encourage. You don't want him doing that.
He stopped doing
Those are actually, that's one of the signs. It doesn't necessarily mean he's autism, because what a lot of people tend to not realize, just because a child does certain things similar to an autistic child does not necessarily mean they have autism.
Yeah, I didn't think my son had
that is one of the symptoms. My 5-year-old was diagnosed with autism, still to this day. Not so much, it's mainly like when he gets excited, he'll tend to flap his arms.
Yeah.
What you have to do with that, which what I was told, basically don't make him feel like he's doing something wrong, because he doesn't know what he's doing. It all comes with whatever diagnosis. Or maybe it could just be, like I said, he's excited. That's how he expresses himself when he's excited.
Well, that's the thing. Just to add into that right quick. When I said stop, remember, I am a young mom.
Of course.
I don't have experience. So whatever I'm telling him is, I'm trying to, you can't beat SMS. That's who he is. That's who, it's Aiden and then it's SMS. But I was trying to challenge him by saying, that's it. If you want to express yourself happy, sad, whatever, talk to me. So I have to be strong with him because, one, he took a long time to stop. It did. It took him a long time. I would say he started from like the beginning, since he was a baby, all the way till he was like, I think like 4 or 5. And he just stopped completely. And not because I was like, stop, not like that neither, but more like I would say, Aiden, what's going on? I already knew.
What you can do too is like guide him down the right way. Like when you see, like what I was told from my 5-year-old, when they do that, they usually try to get their mind distracted or get him into like something else, or just grab his hands and like just play with him, guide him towards a different direction, right, to have him doing something else.
I wish I had
so
you
that way. I'm just learning
I'm just saying, because if I would have met her before, like when Aiden was first diagnosed, obviously I would have took a different route, like a different way of handling.
I mean, we're all learning, because even with my 15-year-old, there's actually a lot of services that he could have qualified for that I never knew about back then, compared to what I know now with my 5-year-old, that's getting way more services than what my 15-year-old ever got. But then at the same time, not only as a new mother and as a new parent that's just experiencing, but at the same time, those services were not offered to me back then. So
Yeah, same. I wanted to add to that. Thank you for bringing that up. Same as I found out recently that a pool could have, but I don't think that it's too late for my son. Could have helped Aiden 100% with his low muscle tone from like here all the way down. Yeah, like he would have been, good by now. So now that I know that, I am gonna put the work in to make sure that he gets what I know he needs. And yeah, what else I was gonna say? Oh, well, I actually wanted to share something before we get into anything else. I wanted to share the good qualities about having a kid with Smith-Magenis syndrome. So I have a lot of I have a lot of things that I love about my son. You know this. There's a lot of things I love about my son, but if I had to like pick
besides
maybe two,
them giving us purpose, yeah,
exactly. If there's two things I would choose, because if you go to the internet, it would say they have a good sense of humor, which he does. He has a great sense of humor, and he has a very good long-term memory. That's true too. But for me, I would say just how thoughtful he is. Like obviously, I'm old enough to know that you don't meet a lot of people that are thoughtful nowadays. But the fact that my son has that quality makes me appreciate him more, and also it makes me want to change as a person. I've expressed that to you. Just because we are living the way we are, and we are around people that don't give a damn. We don't have to be that way, and Aiden has made me understand that, year by year. I'm not perfect, no shape or form. But another thing I can say about him is how lovable he is. Damn, he is just so lovable. To the point that when he wakes up, he'd be like, Mama, I'm hungry. And then he just gives me a kiss on my cheek. Yes, he's always hungry, by the way. He's always hungry.
That's all kids.
Yeah. And he's a boy, so I'm sorry I had to say that. But yeah, he gives me a kiss on the cheek in the morning, and he just hugs me a lot. He loves hugging. He hugs me all the time, 24/7.
That's another similarity, I guess. But then again, a lot of kids are affectionate, especially at a very young age. They're super affectionate, loving. Where on some cases, like when my 15-year-old, as I mentioned, he wasn't always on top of me constantly. He was attached to me, but not very attached to the point where he's constantly on me. My 5-year-old, not to say that my 15-year-old is not lovable. I just want to stop right there and say that. But my 5-year-old, he's just very clingy, always wants to be on top of me. I go in the bathroom, he follows me to the bathroom. He's just very on top of me, wanting to either hug me, give me kisses. So I could relate.
Yeah, if I could talk about Aiden all day. You already know that. That's he's my world. I love that Aiden is who he is. And sometimes I think to myself, if he didn't have this diagnosis, who would he be? At the age of 9, I don't know.
Yeah.
But before we wrap this up, I actually wanted to ask you the most important question. Did you have any support after you?
You don't even have to finish that sentence. No, I didn't. Actually, that's kind of an emotional topic, but I was forced to live on my own at a very early age. So a lot of things I've learned on my own with the help of nobody. No family support, no friends, nobody. I was me on my own. I figured it out on my own. Yeah, I had like maybe a few little relatives here and there that were a little bit supportive, but nobody to like really be there to teach me or guide me down the right path. So when it came to my kids and support, no, I was their support 24/7. And it still remains like that, still to this day. Aside from my husband, I do have a husband of 15 years, and he's the support that I have for me and my kids, my friend here, being that we have so much to relate in common. So, and a few family members that I do have, which is only like maybe 1 or 2, to be honest. But Yeah, there you go. That's your answer. No, I did not have the support.
So I can agree with Louise. I did not have the support. Actually, there was a lot of drama that came after my son was diagnosed. As you can hear him in the background, he's pretty loud. But when I'm gonna read this part right quick, just because I feel like I need to share it. You need extra support from family and friends. When you are hit with that type of news, you do need the support, no matter what.
And the thing to that is, when you don't get it, it's like you become this ruthless person, or not necessarily ruthless, but like ruthless in the eyes of people that don't necessarily understand. You become this bitter, cold. That's not who you really are. But it's like you trained your body to feel like you really don't need nobody, because at the end of the day, when you did needed somebody, nobody was there for you to begin with. So you already have that in your mind, like, I did it on my own, I could do it again on my own. Yeah, the family support is very important, but then once you don't get that, it really doesn't matter at that point.
I agree with Luis 100%. Thank you for saying that, because I was gonna say the same thing. Like I said, when my son was born, it was a lot of drama that came after that, and like Luis said, what it did after the years, it made me stronger. And not only that, but like she said, you don't give a damn about nobody else around you, because nobody gave a damn when your kid was diagnosed with something like that. Something rare, because both diagnoses are both rare diagnoses, by the way. So, well, she did mention that earlier. So the fact that we equally did not have the support that we thought we was gonna have,
or that we should have
had, it sucks because when you're young, you're lost. You don't know what to do, and now being older, and I know that she can agree with me, it just makes it has made me stronger. Yes, there are times that me and her break down,
of course,
when we talk about them.
We just tend to like put a smile, or even though not necessarily putting a smile, we are happy, not that we're depressed, but there are times when, just as she was saying, we both suffer from anxiety. That's another thing as well. So there are many times when I want to go in the bathroom and just scream or pull out my hair, and just cry. But then I tell myself, yeah, it's good to get it out, because at the same time, when you bottle up too much inside, that's not good either. So whether you have the support from family or friends or whoever the case may be, if you do not have that, seek help elsewhere, whether it's through a therapist. Everybody needs that. There are many people that I hear say, oh, I don't need nobody, I don't need this, I don't need... False. It's all bullshit at the end of the day, because when that person goes home and they're by themselves with their deepest, darkest thoughts, all of that just... like, it is more harder. Like, it gets more harder. That's all. It's even me. I do speak to a therapist, and I used to be one of those people, but like, oh, I don't need nobody. In reality, I don't need nobody. But what I'm trying to say is basically, like, everybody needs everybody to like talk with, even if it's just to talk, for that listening ear. We all need that. So.
And I'm glad that she said that, because to be honest, I have a few people that I trust, especially with Aiden. So I'm glad that I met her, because like she said, I would I will go to the bathroom and cry, or even in the moment, just looking at him, I will cry. Again, I'm not crying just to put it out there, because I'm upset that I have a son with special needs, or that I'm like, I don't know how to explain it. I know how I feel. I'm not gonna go any more into details about that, but my whole point is, I'm sad for him, because there's gonna be challenges ahead, and I'm gonna have to be the one to break the news to him, and to just try to be the best support I can be to him, you know. And I feel 100% that she has been the support ever since we've moved here. She's been the support that I needed for a long time. I wish I would have had her when I first found out about my son, just because, you know, it is an emotional roller coaster, and when you have someone, I just feel I'm totally lucky to have her, because, you know, she reminds me, you know, like, you're strong, you know, she gives me the encouragement that I need. And I do have a few other people that give me encouraging words. It's hard, you know, our life is not easy. I know for everyone life ain't easy, but when you make yourself responsible and the love of your life is right in front of you, because when you have these kids, man, there's no one in this world that could say, come on, like, the love is there, you know, whether they have a disability or not, you know. That's you,
what I,
you know,
felt, actually, since you bring that up too. I actually felt like that the moment I got pregnant at such an early age for a woman, young teenager, still turning into a young adult. Pregnancy can be scary, especially when you don't have the support that you need from loved ones, family, whoever the case may be. So some people may think, oh, being a mother is too hard for me, you give in, that's where abortion comes in. Or not even abortion, just adoption or whatever, can't handle the responsibilities. Versus me, the moment I got pregnant, I already felt like I don't have anybody anyway, so I felt that love from my child even when in the beginning of my pregnancy. It was just natural for me. So it was so hard for me to be like, again, one of my aunts made the appointment for me to get an abortion. I couldn't do it. I told myself, I'm gonna fight through this. I'm gonna give my child what they need. The love was already there. So
yeah, I totally agree with her. Just having Aiden has blessed my life, you know, and I'm super grateful and thankful, you know, for having him, but most importantly for having the support that I'm not bitter about not having it and, you know, years ago, because I'm super blessed now having her and, like I said, other people to guide me and to encourage me, you know, because like she said, everybody needs everybody, you know. And the good thing is that we don't judge each other. No. You know, we just let each other know what's up.
Exactly.
And I totally appreciate that. And if I had to give an advice or an opinion to someone that is pregnant, expecting or have a kid that is gonna come into this world with a disability, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. Trust me. It
changes you for the better.
Exactly.
Because to be honest, that's another thing we have in common, which will be discussed at, I guess, another video. But one of the things that we have in common is our lifestyle before our kids.
Yes.
We do have a lot of that in common as well. So before I had my kids, I'm not going to go into specific details, but who knows where I would have been at. God forbid, like, who knows where I would have been at if I was even still alive. Then that's all I'm gonna say. Kids change you for the better.
Yes.
At least the good parents, at least. The parents that are willing to stick it out and not give up and continue to fight.
That's what I was gonna say.
Because not all parents are the same.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Don't give up on your child, you know, like, please, mothers, like she was saying, if you guys want to speak to someone, you guys can go to a therapist, or even to us, you know, hit me up, you know, comment down below, or whatever the case, you know, if you guys want to contact her or me, we're both available, you know, and we're not going to be judgmental. We both totally understand, you know, and what we want is for the mothers, the stay-at-home mothers, the single mothers, the mothers that have kids with disability, please don't hold it in. Don't hold back, and don't feel like I'm afraid because the world's gonna make fun of my situation.
At the end of the day, everybody is gonna talk about you no matter what. You have your haters out there, you have your supportive people out there, you have your people out there like
Exactly.
watching you every step of the way to see when you're gonna fuck up.
Yep.
You don't got nothing to prove to nobody but yourself. So
I'm glad that you said that. Exactly. And at the end of the day, even me, I told myself, you know what, I'm not going to express much about my son until he turns 10. Why? No, I'm gonna speak up for him, because we're not only that we're speaking up for our kids, but we are their advocates, you know. And the more we can spread about this, because who knows, maybe there are other kids that have the same
similar or maybe worse, maybe less. Everybody goes through their own situation with their kids differently. Every child's diagnosis is different. Every child is different in their own way. So
yes, exactly. And if you do have a kid with SMS, Smith-Magenis syndrome, hey, I'm here, you know. I'm willing to talk, you know, and we can figure it out. The more support we can have, especially as women, the better.
We don't get that much as women. It's given all mainly to the men. But
yeah, exactly. So is there anything else you would say? You feel like you said what you had to say?
Yeah, pretty
much. Yeah, I
don't really know what else to say.
No, it's okay.
I mean, that's pretty much everything that
you okay. So I don't know if you wanted to add something else, because I was gonna wrap it up.
Okay, so we could wrap it up.
I'm leaving that in the video so you guys can see that this is a normal conversation. I ain't gonna edit anything. So yeah, what can I say about this? I hope that you guys can relate or even learn about kids or even adults with disabilities, special needs, whatever you guys want to call it. Let's be nicer to each other, you know. Let's spread love, because
instead of spreading hate, let's spread love.
Exactly. And let's teach our kids that don't have disability. By the way, I need to add this, to be nicer to kids that have disability.
Yes, and on the same note, stop treating our children with disabilities like they have a disability. What I mean by that is, you have some people, not all, but some people, just because a child has developmental delays or special needs, you tend to treat them like their diagnosis. Stop doing that. Treat them just like how you would treat any regular child. That's how they actually advance in life. So
I'm glad that she put that as a tip as well, because we all gotta learn something, you know. And just like I said, just be nicer, you know, to these kids, because they don't deserve any type of bad treatment. They don't have a bad bone, you know, on them. They're good people. So yeah, I guess this is where I'm gonna wrap it up. And don't forget, y'all already know, like, subscribe, but subscribe. And to the 3 subscribers, thank you, I appreciate it. There's hope for me. So yeah, I guess this is it. Peace.